Mike Taylor Live is presented by Texas Cheer Liquor. And now, live from San Antonio, Mike Taylor.
Yes. Well, look at that. We're back, man. We're back. And then we're going to leave you again. It is the final day of the work week, and then we don't work Monday because of Jesus' birthday. It is Christmas weekend, and here we are with the final show, even though I haven't really done much this week. But hey, man, it's that time of the year, and here we are, and I'm mailing it in from my own personal studio from K-Mike Studios in San Antonio, Texas. My name is Mike Taylor. Thank you for watching and listening to this thing and supporting this thing as we get into the Christmas weekend show here. It's Thursday if you're watching this thing live, and we appreciate you hard as always for tuning in to Fart Drop Thursday. DJ LG, he emanates this program from his own studio, KLG Studios.
Matt.
Also somewhere in the greater San Antonio area. And I'm not, the only reason I'm at home today, I was at home yesterday because I was tired.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at home today because my 22-year-old.
Oh.
No, I don't have jet lag.
Oh, I thought, yeah.
No, dude. Well, I had a little yesterday for sure. Just stayed up I stayed up too late last night, but it's not jet lag. Merry Christmas. What's up, y'all? What's up? Oh, my kid's in town. My 22-year-old. I have 4 children. I have to remind myself of that on occasion. Oh yeah,
I got 4 kids to feed.
Yeah, man. So, 22-year-old drove down with the boyfriend and stayed here with us last night. We wound up staying up too late, and I had one too many tequila and grapefruits. And yeah, I just didn't want to get up same time. So today we're emanating from MT Studios, but we're going to make the best of it. I'm going to spend the rest of the day hanging out with my 2 oldest are here. My twins will be here next week. So this is real cool for Pops. I don't want anything for Christmas other than to see my kids. That's it. Preferably all of them together, which is not easy to do. But it'll be a good Christmas for Daddy because all 4 of the kids at least some point will be in here. And so I emanate today from my apartment. I have a request. I know we always ask a lot of you. I'm always asking you for money and stuff. So we have an idea, and I don't want to get into the details of it just yet because of a lot of reasons. And it's also possible we don't even do this bit. But LG and I have been talking about it's not terribly distant in the future. It's coming up soon. We're working on a bit. You know, and a lot of you, I'm talking about you OGs that watch us every day, you know. I'm just trying to get more attention, trying to make it even more about me in 2K24. But I got a promo idea. A bit. We'll call it a bit. But it requires a car. All right. And it's possible we scrap this idea. I just wanted to throw this out here. I threw it out last night on Twitter, and if it fails, it fails. But that, you got to try stuff. So we have a bid idea. I don't want to get into the reasons why or the idea behind it because also a lot of it just depends on the kind of car we wind up getting. That's going to dictate kind of how the bid goes. But I need a really bitchin' car. LG knows why and he knows the pretense of why we need this vehicle. Should I just throw it out there and ask to borrow just a cool car, or should it be a certain kind of cool car, like a badass 80s sports car?
Well, it's got to be worth it.
Or
it can't be like a random Mustang or something.
No, I'm not going to go hop in your Corolla. No.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Something over the top.
Yeah, it has to be something that's over the top.
Yeah, this is an over-the-top bid idea. And it's like, if we can't get over the top, we should just not even do the bid, right? Don't you agree? Yeah. Okay. So that's it. We got a lot to get to do, but I just wanted to start off today by asking, does anybody have access to a really kick-ass, over-the-top car?
And it doesn't necessarily have to be like a Testarossa or something. It could be like a badass lowrider, but it's got to be badass. Like, like showstopper, like
right.
It's got to be a head turner.
it's got to be make ready. It can't be. You can't have primer on one of the doors because you're working on it. It's got to be.
Unless you got
badass.
Cheech's lowrider from Up in Smoke, then that's the only hoopty I would allow, honestly.
Yeah, it needs to be the car on the Dr. Dre video with Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, with the gold Dayton's and the hydro. Yeah,
clank. What was that tune? Still here, still on it, still Dre, still DRE.
Sure,
Motherfucking DRE, ding. Y'all know that one. We can't play tunes. We can't play tunes on this damn show because we get sued and we get pinged every day. Late punch to the people at Mickey, who got mad at us yesterday because, by the way, all punches are brought to you by the law office of Orlando Kill. Late punch to Mickey's producers yesterday because they got mad that we played the video of Jeff Traylor getting doused with the Scooter's coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry we promoted your fucking bowl sponsor on our show. That sucks. And we've been dinged by Major League Baseball this year for a 40-year-old
We've hit all the sport. NBA's dinged us,
Football,
NFL, MLB.
NFL
yeah, it's everything. We got dinged for Baseball Boogie. Like,
yeah, I know.
Who owns the copyright to that song? Jesus.
That's the people who are dead. That fucking thing was made 40 years ago. That made the Baseball Boogie song. Sucks. So that all being said, yeah, we got in trouble because we played Jeff Traylor's, and they get more mad when I come on here and bitch about it the next day. But it's stupid. It's dumb. Our life's too short. The world's too screwed up for y'all to get pissed off because we played a 30-second video because our local coach got doused with coffee. Come on, man. We got to have some visuals on this damn show. And if it means we have to violate the FCC on occasion, then damn it, so be it, we will. Okay, we need a cool car. That's it. So if you have a badass car that's like super badass, over the top, I mean, what if a monster truck shows up?
That works. It's.
You think so? Okay, just because it's over the top.
Kick ass. It can't just be like a lifted, F-150 or something. It needs to be like an actual monster truck.
It's got to look like Gravedigger.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Or preferably, it could be like a badass, it could be an old school Ferrari or something like Don. Ooh, we just got a new member. Look at that. What's up, Steve O.R.? Fucking A.
Is that the official scuba diver, Steve-O?
Oh, it could be.
Or is that Captain
Steve-O? Steve-O, we know a couple of Steve-Os. Identify yourself further. I appreciate it. Thank you for that membership. That's kick-ass. We got to grow the show in 2K24, yo. We got to drive the subscribe. We got to have more members. I appreciate that. Okay. So that's it. I just need a car. We have a cool bid idea. If maybe you own a car business, maybe you own a car lot or something like that. You want to loan us one just need it for a couple of hours for a show.
A limo will work too, or
really? Okay,
yeah, a limo would work too. It would serve the
Right.
purpose.
I can probably score us a limo, but I want something that looks like ours. It's a fun bit, I'm trying to play this off as a badass, even though I'm not. That's what makes it funny,
We need someone to play your chauffeur though if we get a limo.
Correct. And you'll get some sweet promotion if you own a car, limo service, whatever. Reach out to us. All right. DM me, shoot me an email. My email is miketaylorshow@gmail.com. Or you can DM me on Twitter or it's one of those things. Okay, let's get on with the show. I appreciate it. So let us know pretty quick because we need to do this promo at some point in the coming week. The bit it has a time to it. It is of the essence, the timing of this thing. So anyway, just if you have access to a kick-ass car, reach out and let's talk. Okay. Big week for Cowboys and Dolphins. This is the last show of the week that I'll do on this particular show. But Sunday night around 6:30, I am going to have Overreact, also presented by the law office of Orlando Kill. Cowboys and Dolphins, my two teams collide this week in South Beach. My AFC squad is the Dolphins. Oh, cool. It is Scuba Steve. Thanks for the membership, dude. I appreciate that. It's only $6 a month. Y'all should join Steve and become a member if you're not. You get all the members-only exclusive material, and it's $36 a year. It's $6 a month. That's it. Love you hard. Thank you, Steve-O. And you can opt out anytime. Okay. Cowboys and Dolphins this week. My AFC team is the Dolphins. And only because my spirit animal is a dolphin. If I could come back to this world as any other animal, it would be a dolphin. Because dolphins are free-range animals out to sea that run around and just have a lot of fun. They're not like orcas that go causing havoc and sinking boats and shit. They're not sharks that may or may not bite a surfer's leg off. Dolphins are like the dogs of the sea. We all love dogs. And dolphins are the dogs of the sea. They're really smart, highly intelligent creatures, and they are just badass animals that just want to have a good-ass time and take advantage of having a life and have a good time. They may or may not jump up on a deck and hunch a chick. Have you seen that video? That video that's going around of that poor girl that gets a dolphin jumps up on the deck and just starts hunching her? Have you seen that?
Well, they're also known to gang rape.
They do gang rape on occasion, but only their own species, you know. And they also they're only known creature in the sea that gets high. They will find pufferfish. Dolphins will. You know this, I think.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Boom and I talked about this earlier this year. Dolphins are known. They'll find a pufferfish and they'll scare it so it'll puff all up, and then they'll fuck with it. They'll pass it around like a hacky sack, and it like expels all the ink, and so it makes the dolphin high the ink, and so then they soak up all the pufferfish ink.
Yeah. By the way, I have
Dolphins
to punch
are
you.
badass.
I have to punch you for your public school math. $36 a year.
What
Try
I
that
say
again. $6
my
a month. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 12
Yeah.
times. What's 12 times 6?
72.
Oh, $72 a year.
There
My
you
bad.
go. Yeah.
Hey, that's still less than the cup. Some of y'all spend $6 a day on a fucking coffee. We talking about 6 months, $6 a month, so $72 a year. That's badass. So become a man. Thank you, Brian, for pointing that out. What did I say? 36. I was thinking in Japanese yen. Okay, so the dolphin is my spirit animal. I am a Miami Dolphins fan, and my fandom has only increased because I really love Tua Tagovailoa, the hellscape zone Tua. He's an embattled quarterback. People question whether or not. Tell me if you've heard this before. He is really talented, played at an SEC school, has been a starter from day one in the NFL, has a cannon arm, and at times looks like one of the elite quarterbacks in football. Where we heard this before. And then there's weeks where he's inaccurate and doesn't look like one of the elite quarterbacks in football. And if you could criticize Tua for anything, it is that he does not beat the best teams. It's Dak in a mirror. Maybe it's fitting that the Dolphins are my other favorite team. And I do love Tua, just like I love Dak. I'm down on Dak, but I still duck him for old time's sake. And I love the Miami Dolphins head coach. So as we get into this game, I'm excited for it. It's a 3:25 kick on Christmas Eve. I'll have the Overreact show. LG is going to make his mind up as to whether or not he wants to help me with the show, because if he helps me, we'll get a lot more viewers. But if he doesn't, I'll do it on my own. Injury report. Zach Martin, Cowboys all-world right guard, who got his quad nailed. Man, I felt that pain. He took a body into the quad and had to come out of the game in Buffalo Sunday, and he's not practiced yet. It's a real bad bruise, and I feel his pain, man. Have you ever had your quad just busted, like kneed or hit with? Have you ever busted, like banged your quad muscle real hard on a car or something, door? That sucks. It's hard. It hurts. Tyron Smith showed up on the injury report. Great. The all-world left tackle. When he plays, he's great. And knock on wood, he's been healthy most of the year. But we know it's Tyron Smith. He has a history of injuries. And at any point in time, any one of these kids could get hurt. But especially a guy like Tyron Smith, who has been hurt a lot. He never practices anymore. He hadn't practiced all year, but that's just how it is with him at this stage of his career. But even though he never practices, he has not been on the injury report. All of a sudden yesterday, when the Cowboys released their Wednesday injury report, Tyron Smith was on it. All it says was Tyron Smith did not practice. No big deal. He never practices. But in parentheses, it said back. Geez. Is it strained? Is it stretched? Is it bruised? Does he have spasms? Does he have a herniated disc? Surely it's not that. I don't know. All they said was back. So right now the Cowboys are having their Thursday practice up at the Star in the Metroplex, and maybe as the day goes on, we'll have some more definitively on Tyron Smith. But something to watch out for. Tyron Smith now has a back issue. Zach Martin's getting over that quad, which sucks. I once ran into a parked pickup truck playing football in the street, full speed. And it was one of those old school trucks from the early 80s, had those big ass headlights that stick out. I was probably 10 or 11 playing football in the street, and I took off hauling the balls down the street with my head turned like this, waiting because he can get for a bomb pass, full speed into a parked pickup truck. In the like the little point, how the headlight stuck out, it got me right dead center of my quad. What's up, another member? Shit, we got 2 today. Patrick 17 has become a member. Thank you, Patrick. Love you hard. $72. That's all we ask, and you can drop it at any time. Taylor sucks. He's not giving me my members only stuff. Whatever you want, you can drop it at any time. But I promise you, it'll be worth it. So that fucking headlight hit me dead in the quad, right in the middle. And I lost all feeling from the hip down. I just laid down. Oh shit. And they all come running over. They thought I was dead. I thought for a split second, I thought I got hit by a moving truck. I just ran into a parked one like a dumbass. And I'm laid out. I'm just like, whoa, I don't feel my leg at all. Go get my mom. Grandma Becky happened to be home this day. And which wasn't always the case. Thankfully, she was home. She comes over and she's like, hey, get up. I'm like, Mom, I can't walk. She's like, well, hop. I had to hop my ass home. My buddies had to help me. I had to hop me home, and I was on the couch for 2 damn days. Big ass bruise, and I swear to God, I have a dent in my left quad to this day. I'll let you feel it. If you see me in the street, Thunderdome, ask to fill the hole in my quad. There's like a dent. There's a dent. I'll let you even feel it. It happened from that fucking pickup truck. So, that to be said, yes, I'm about to relate my street balling at 10 years old to Zach Martin, the all-pro right guard. That sucks to get your quad nailed. And for him to get it hit that, and he's got a pad on that leg too, and to get it hit that hard, that must have really been painful. So he's not practicing. Will he be able to play at Miami? I don't know. Speaking of the Dolphins, their stud wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, who has a claim for MVP. Tyreek Hill, who at one point was on pace to break Calvin, what's-his-face's, the Megatron, the Detroit wide receiver's all-time career yards for a single season. It's probably been derailed now because Tyreek didn't play last week, even though they beat the shit out of the Jets 30-0. They didn't need him. They're going to need Tyreek Hill against Dallas, but he may not be able to play. He hadn't practiced again all week. Ankle. He tweaked it pretty good a couple of weeks ago, so he misses the Jets game, and he's highly questionable for the Cowboy game on Sunday at 3:25. All right, so y'all know I like the Dolphins. I questioned the hiring of Mike McDaniel a couple of years ago when Miami hired him. First of all, he looks like he's 25. I think he's 35. Don't run this yet, but there's my boy Mike McDaniel. That's 3 years at having the job. 3 years ago, he looked even younger than that. And he walks around the sideline. He's about $150, about 5'8", 5'9", about $150. And he walks around he wears his sweatpants pulled up to his knee, like a lot of these kids do. He's a young man. I think he's 35. I want to say he's like 35 now. He's a young dude. And he is a football coaching sumbitch. I gave him shit when they first hired him. He came out and said that he was like, he's part black, like his dad's black. I'm like, what the fuck you talk about, son? He's less black than I am Mexicano, and I'm only a quarter. But whatever. So I wasn't crazy about this hire. Because you're lying about your race and you're 32. Oh God. And look at you. He looks like some little dweeb kid you see in a bar on Southtown. He don't look like the football coach of the Dolphins. But in 3 years, man, he has taken over that effing locker room. In 3 years, he has become one of the better head coaches in the NFL. I was wrong about this dude. And not only is he a damn good coach, he has the respect of that room. And some of those guys are older than he is. Well, they certainly were when he first got the job. And so it's funny, like I mentioned Tua and Dak, how they kind of they have similar criticisms in that 1 week you look great, the next week not so much, but you never beat the best teams in the league. You struggle. And Tua struggled last year in the playoffs. It's funny how they mirror each other. And in some ways, the Dolphins franchise does. Not obviously the head coaches don't compare at all. But the narrative with the Cowboys, it's not even a narrative. It's just facts. It's facts. They don't beat the better teams, period. Miami's in the same boat. They beat the shit out of they beat the Jets 30-0. Now, Miami lost to Tennessee at home 2 weeks ago, which was not good. But Miami hung, 70 on Denver this year? Was it 70, 71, something like that on Denver? They run up the score on these shitty teams, like the Cowboys do. Then they play a team that's good, and all of a sudden they struggle. Another member, Eddie the Great, has become a member. That's my Christmas present from Thunderdome. Thank you all. Appreciate that, man. Thank you, Eddie the Great. Love you hard, bro. Oh, it's Christmas coming early today for me and LG. But this dude here, I always want to call him a kid because he looks so young. So McDaniel this week decided to tell, because he knew the Cowboys are in town. Of course, when the Cowboys they're like fucking Ringling Brothers. When they come to town, there's a different feel. And so here's a Dallas team coming off a loss, desperate to stay in the division race with Philadelphia. Cowboys need to have a complete turnaround from the turd they laid in Buffalo. And so the local media there has, and McDaniel knows that the local media that covers the Dolphins every day are going to ask guys, okay, here come the Cowboys. You guys struggle against the better teams. Dallas needs a win. They're coming off a loss, blah, blah, blah. McDaniel told his players, tell the media to fuck off. Seriously. Here's what McDaniel said yesterday with regard to the narrative that they can't beat good teams.
I instructed the players to anything other than concern yourself with the next opponent, which for us is the Dallas Cowboys, and any other narrative that has to do with good teams or playoff seeds or the next 3 games, all that stuff. I gave them the clearance to tell all members of the media to, with all due respect, F off. With all due respect. Because all we're focused on is the Dallas Cowboys, and they definitely deserve our attention. So as we clean up our game from the previous, we'll be thinking about that, and the narratives will be what they be. And not really concerned, know that that's going to exist, but it's really inconsequential for what we're trying to do.
Coaching.
All right, and then yesterday we showed a video of him basically calling, before he called it, I'm going to call a one-play touchdown drive here. Watch, we're going to get Waddle open for a touchdown. They're still on Hard Knocks, the Dolphins are. They're on the in-season Hard Knocks, and the cameras caught McDaniel last week in the Jets game saying, he goes up to Tyreek Hill, who was in street clothes, and goes, watch, I'm ready for a one-play drive. Check this out. He saw the coverage that the Jets were in. He called a bomb to Waddle to hit him on the run, touchdown, one-play drive. The dude looks like a first-year mathematics major at UTSA. But he has all of the swagger and all of the talent and all of the control of his room that Nick Saban has at Bama. It's highly impressive. I love this dude, McDaniel.
Alabama!
I'm rooting for the Cowboys. Don't get me wrong, but I really like Miami, and I would love to see a Cowboys and Dolphins Super Bowl. How crazy would that be? So there's where the Cowboys go this week to take on a Dolphins team with a quarterback that's very talented, that most of the time looks like one of the better guys in the league, except for when he plays those good teams and they don't play well. Funny how they've kind of become the Dallas of the AFC. Pretty crazy. All right, so there's that. 3:25 kickoff, come hell or high water, and I'll have Overreact presented by the Law Office of Orlando Kell. Probably 6:30 or so. We'll send out links Sunday afternoon. Show brought to you in part today by Texas Cheer Liquor, the official liquor store of Thunderdome. We got 9 locations all over San Antonio, the greater area. And so no matter where you live, there's a location of Texas Cheer Liquor near you. There's one near me, there's one near LG, and there's one near you. It is the official liquor store of Texas Cheer Liquor. I'm there all the time as part of my partnership with Texas Cheer. Was there last night, and they had 4 massive deliveries. And I was at the store up on Evans and Boulevardy, where I usually am when I do a shift. and we had 4 massive deliveries. They are anticipating a lot of folks to come in there between today and Saturday evening when they close at 9. And I'll be there all day. I'm actually going to be at this Texas Cheer, the one on Evans and Bulverde, all day Saturday, the day before Christmas Eve. So if you need some last-minute gift ideas, they got a shit ton of gifts in there, like a nice bottle of this or a nice fifth of that, and all different kinds of liquor and booze with like little giveaway gifts, like little gift boxes that a lot of alcohol companies will like to put a bottle of their hooch in there and they'll give away a coffee cup or something. Got a lot of those on sale at Texas Cheer Liquor. So
yeah, because Christmas is on Monday,
right.
Saturday's the last day you can get liquor until Tuesday.
Correct. Absolutely. So people are going to be loading up this weekend. So come see me. I'll be at this Texas Cheer Liquor, Evans and Bulverde, all day Saturday. So come buy booze, take a picture, and become a member. Love you hard. All right, that's it. Thank you to Texas Cheer Liquor for being the presenting sponsor of this show. Okay. Okay, I get it. I screwed up the math. It's $72 a year. Brett C., 12 months times $6 equals $72. Still a great bargain. Merry Christmas. Thank you, dude. Samson Elizondo. How about a slingshot car? They're over the top big time. Those things are over the top. You know, I want to rule out a slingshot.
Yeah.
Let's rule that out because I'm just scared to death to get in one. I'm not going to get
I don't know if not a slingshot. It's got to be a car.
Unless we find somebody who
it's
looks like.
It's got to be a car that has like an
double.
enclosure to it, you know, not an open air.
Right. Absolutely.
Slingshot.
Cool.
Unless it's a badass convertible. That's the only way.
That's different. Yeah. So just hit me up if you have access to a really kick-ass car. Hey, shout out to Thunderdomer Alec Vasquez, who just became a member. Oh, look at y'all. I'm touched. We've got what, 4 today? 5 already? That's great. I thank you. Thank you. Merry Christmas. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate you, Alec. You can opt out at any time, but please don't. We love you hard. Thank you. Okay. A hell of a day in college football yesterday as the early signing day got up and rolling. I got some thoughts on that today a little bit. But I wanted to play this because, I mean, how often do we think about Mack Brown anymore around here? Not often. But there was a time there for the longest time where Mack Brown, a day didn't go by. I didn't think about Mack Brown at least one time when he was the coach at Texas. And I still think that the way the Longhorns, I don't disagree with the decision to move on from Mack. I disagree with how they handled the moving on. I thought it was disrespectful. And of course, it took them 3 fucking coaches to get it right. It's fine you want to get rid of Mack. Who are you going to bring in? And they got it wrong 3 times in a row until they got to Sark. Thank God. I love Sark. But Mack Brown started up yesterday. Love this. You have these 2 pieces of video, LG. It's pretty good. We'll start with, so let me set this up. So Mack's still coaching at Carolina. I think it's his 5th year, I want to say. He's the one that he spent more time at Carolina than he did with the Longhorns. And you add up to 2 stretches when he was there for 8-9 years before he took the Texas job, and now he's been back 4 or 5 years. Still getting it done. They're not going to win any natties at North Carolina with Mack. They're not going to go to the playoffs with Mack, I don't think, until we extend it anyway. But he's still going to be competitive. As long as Mack Brown's coaching your program, it's going to be a winning program. Carolina went 8-4 this year, which for Mack being as old as he is, and as you know, I'm not saying he doesn't have it. I'm not saying he's Joe Biden needs to have his diaper changed 3 times a day, but he's not a young man, and Mack's still getting it done, and I'm proud. It's great. It's great to see. I love Mack Brown. I wish he were my grandpa. And so this is a couple of weeks ago when they played NC State, their arch rival. And it just got out, though, this week. Some video got out from a couple of weeks ago when North Carolina lost to NC State. It's a big rivalry game, so, you know, it's emotional and people are jacked up. And in the locker room, the NC State coach, something called Dave Doran, but he said something along the lines of, it's been 1,460-something days since those pieces of shit beat us. He called everybody at Carolina pieces of shit. And Mack didn't know about it until yesterday. When the video got out, Mack saw it of Dave Doran saying, we beat those pieces of shit. And Mac's such a classy dude, rarely calls out anybody else. Yesterday, Mack Brown decided, you know what? F this shit, Rich. You don't get to call me a piece of shit, and called out Dave Doran. This is Mack calling out the NC State coach yesterday.
Secondly, in our last ball game with a rival school, after the game, the head coach of that school called our players a piece of shit. And I apologize for that language, but I've never heard something like that before, and I'm disappointed. I thought it was classless. It's not true. Number one, we didn't play well in the game. We didn't coach well in the game. It's been very well documented, and I got that. But you don't call kids a piece of shit. And I've addressed it with our team. I apologize to them. These kids are one of the top academic groups in America. They got an award for AFCA's top 13. They've won a Coastal Division. They've won a bunch of games. They've been to an Orange Bowl, been to 5 straight bowls. They represent us well. And from me speaking for them and their parents, they really didn't appreciate being called a piece of shit. Never heard that before. And very, very disappointing.
Okay, there it is. Well, that's good stuff. Mack never, ever addresses stuff like that. I've never even heard Mack curse. That was great. I don't think I've heard Mack cuss. Certainly not on a podium like that, but he's quoting the dude. It's been 1,000 days since we lost those pieces of shit. So great. And how about that? Mack still being that's good. That's Mack Brown. That's Mack's thing. He loves to go through the resume of what his team's done. He did that for years at Texas. Yes, I know we lost to Oklahoma, but I got 6 All-Americans. We're 6-1. He was very Wade Phillips. He always had to go through the resume of the Longhorns, especially after we lost or think if we had a bad day. Well, here's what all the things we've done. Mack's great at that. I've hoped that Mack would have gone into politics years ago, but he loves coaching. I thought Mack at one point could have run and probably won the governor of the great state of Texas there at one point, but he stayed in coaching. Love that. So the NC State coach is Dave Doran. Probably won't play the whole thing here, LG. It's like 2.5 minutes long. Well, Dave Doran got outed, and so he was asked about, hey, Mack found out you called everybody at Carolina a piece of shit. And Doran's response was, well, sorry that the cameras were in there, but he didn't really walk it back. This is the NC State coach, Dave Doran, responding to Mack.
ACC Network after the UNC-NC State game said it was classless. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to respond to what Coach Brown said, and if you have any regret about what got caught on camera there in the locker room.
Well, you should have heard what I said about myself and my own team after we lost to Duke in that locker room. First of all, when we go to these meetings, we're supposed to get notice that there's a camera in our locker room, and that was not done. And so, I have a lot of regret that was on TV because they shouldn't have been. When you go into a locker room with your team, that is a private conversation, unless they ask if they can be in there with the camera, and that was not asked. That doesn't give me an excuse to have that public, but that's what happened. No one told me, and obviously if I knew I was on camera, no one told me, my language would not have been what it was. It doesn't make it any better, no. And I did call Coach and apologize because I could have used a lot of different words, obviously. He caught me in a heat of a moment situation in the locker room celebrating a huge win, and I was fired up about how we played, But I have respect for Coach, and so last thing I wanted was for him to feel that. And again, it's not an excuse, but it shouldn't have been on TV. And I think there's 1,000 coaches out there would tell you that, if we had to apologize for everything we said in the locker room, we'd probably spend a lot of time doing that.
All right, that's enough. You know what? I respect Mack for standing up and addressing that and calling NC State out, but I respect Doran. Hey, look, you don't want to hear me call motherfuckers pieces of shit? Get your ass out of my locker room. I love that. I've said that forever. People get mad. I can't believe Tiger Woods uses such crass language on the course. Get the fucking mics off the golf course then. That's on the television networks for putting cameras in the locker room. And Dave says he wasn't told ahead of time. Who cares? He got caught up in the moment. He's excited. He just beat his arch rival. NC State's a good team. I mean, NC's a good team, and Dave Doran's a good coach as far as I know. He didn't literally mean y'all are pieces of shit. He just got caught up in it. Would it have been worse had he said we beat those motherfuckers, or we beat those assholes? He's looking for a filler word there to describe the rival, the nemesis, and it came out pieces of shit.
Watch the language, little boy.
That's funny. So I don't think anybody's in the wrong here. I respect Mack for taking up for his boys because it did get out, and I respect Dave for basically saying, I probably shouldn't have said that, but probably should stay out of my locker room. But you don't want to hear me cussing, so whatevs. George Vallejo. The Dolphins ain't beating the Ravens, no matter how cool the coach is. I know, I get that. The Dolphins are certainly not the favorites to go to the Super Bowl out of the AFC, much like their mirror image Cowboys are not the favorites to go out of the NFC. But he is cool. I like that. Mike Check, pretty sure Oklahoma fans have called the Longhorns pieces of shit since the beginning of time. Yeah. I mean, if you want to say Max being a little bit touchy, that's fair. That's fair. Mac knows his locker room. A lot of those kids probably saw that, and Mac's just trying to defend him like a good grandpa should. All right, speaking of defending, like a good grandpa should, or in this case, great grandpa, the Spurs play tonight. They play the Bulls. Spurs. Victor Wembanyama did not play night before last when they got trounced in Milwaukee because of a sore ankle. They say it's been upgraded to him being probable tonight, so Wemby should go as they take on the Bulls. It's not that big a deal. It's also just an excuse to give Wemby a breather. Oh, I think at this point, if Wemby has any soreness at all, they're going to probably let him take a game off just to manage his minutes because he's never played so many games. But that's neither here nor there. Wemby's going to play tonight. I got some late ass whips for you as it pertains to the Spurs. So a lot of quotes have come out the last couple of days, right before the Milwaukee game, after the Milwaukee game, yesterday when the Spurs got to Chicago. Things like, we were undermanned against Milwaukee because the Bucks are battle tested. I think I heard one of the Spurs, maybe Zach Collins said that. The Bucks are just battle tested. Pop said that the Spurs were deer in the headlights in the first quarter when they gave up 42 points in Milwaukee the other night. I think it was maybe Doug McDermott who said that the team was asleep to start and our mindset wasn't good. But then when Pop was asked about, Doug McDermott said that y'all's mindset wasn't good. Pop said that mindset wasn't any of that. That he said these kids just have to learn how to be pros. I'm ass whipped by all this. It ain't about deer in the headlights to me. It ain't about, we didn't have the right mindset at the beginning of the game. It is not psychological as to why the Spurs are so terrible. I'm not saying that it's not at all psychological, but that's not the predominant reason why we're 4-21. We're not 4-21 because we're really young. It's part of it. It's not the number one reason. Not even close, in my opinion. We're not 4-21 because on some nights we need to learn how to be a pro. We're not 4-21 because, we just didn't have the right mindset tonight. The San Antonio Spurs are 4-21 because their players suck.
It's garbage.
This team is not talented enough to win many games in the NBA. Victor Wembanyama, and I have been on this since the beginning of the season. There's only one kid on that team. There's only one player on that team that has an excuse of, this kid just showed up. He's young. We're developing him. He's learning how to play in the NBA. He's developing his game. He's learning how to be a pro. He's developing in all facets. Everybody else does not get the, they're young excuse. I'm sick of that. They need to learn how to be a pro. Devin Vassell has been in the NBA long enough to know how to be a pro by now. Keldon Johnson has been in the NBA far long enough to know how to be a pro by now. I'm ass-whipped by this narrative that they're young and they're losing because they're young. This team's not talented enough. And prove me wrong. Don't make any trades. Keep the same effing roster for the next 2 years, and in 2 years, if they're winning 50 games with the current group of players they have, then I'll say, oh, okay, they were young. They were learning how to be pros. They were a deer in the headlights. I call bullshit on that. The San Antonio Spurs are 4-21 because they have a talent problem. Keldon Johnson scores 15, 16, sometimes 20-plus points a night. Somebody's going to score for a shitty team. Somebody has to be the valedictorian at the worst school in the district, and that's Keldon Johnson. He's not good enough. I love Devin Vassell. He is unbelievably talented. He's not been good enough. And I love D. Vassell. And I said this yesterday. I still think there's only 2 guys currently on the roster that deserve to go forth with Wemby. And that's Vassell because of his talent and Jeremy Sohan because of his versatility. I just hope they haven't ruined his confidence because they played him out of position for the first 5 weeks of the season. I'm sick of this we're young shit. Lots of guys in the NBA are young. They ain't 4-21. That's it. I'm ass-whipped by that. So the Spurs play them tonight. Pop was asked about, good on them. I don't know if it must have been Jeff McDonald or Tommy Osborne, these guys that travel around with the Spurs when they're on the road, asked Pop about the challenge of this young team being so bad, and why do you still put up with it at 74? Pop will be 75 pretty soon, I think next month. So I'm stealing some quotes out of the Express News. I think Tom Osborne wrote this today. Thank you, LG. Pop was asked if he's still having fun coaching. Pop says it is challenging. He admits to Tom Osborne. Quote, fun is the wrong word, but it's exciting, says Pop. And a meaningful challenge in the sense that I feel great responsibility to these guys. If I can be around when we're winning, I sure as hell can stick around when we're losing. I respect that. He doesn't want to lead the Spurs. We suck. Bye, I'm going to retire. He doesn't want to do that. I respect that to an extent. Pop's commitment to the cause is great. And I've said this for years. I think Pop would have considered retiring some years ago had Kawhi Leonard never left, because Pop would have felt better about turning over the keys to the next coach, whoever he or she might be, with them being good. But with the cupboard so bare, and after the crap that went down with Kawhi Leonard, Pop decided, I need to stay. I owe it to the franchise to see us through this rebuild. I respect that. However, he's committed to the cause, and that's great. But at 75 years old, at some point, there is a pendulum that swings against you. There's a grid where, I'm bad at math, but there's a grid where loyalty versus can you do it anymore at some point collide. I'm not questioning whether or not Pop can do it anymore, but he's not done it yet. We're 5 years into Devin Vassell being here, I think. We're 5 years into Keldon being here almost. 3 or 4 into Vassell being here. At some point, they need to start being pros every night. At some point, they need to not be a deer in the headlights anymore. And a lot of y'all question the coach, and I think it's valid. I right now don't believe that Pop is the problem. I think maybe that they just screwed up and brought in the wrong players, maybe. Is there some other coach out there where these kids would have developed quicker by now? And again, I'm not talking about Wemby. He just got here. I'm talking about these other veterans they have. They get the excuse that, we had a deer in the headlights, or we're still young, or we're a bunch of kids. I'm tired of that. In the back of the day, Greg Popovich was that asshole. He was that dog cusser. And look, he was a dog cusser because Tim Duncan allowed him to be one. Maybe Pop's had to change because Tim Duncan ain't walking through that door. So Pop's more patient with these kids. But at some point, though, is he coddling them? There's a fine line between, tough love, easing off the meanness. You can't always just be a minister of death out there every night, I guess. You can't be an asshole to the players every night. But there's a fine line between that and coddling kids, So Pop will coach this season. And as he does every offseason, he'll evaluate everything, including himself. Don't forget, he's not just a coach. He's the president of ops. I could see a scenario where Pop hands the coaching gig over to somebody else next year or the year after, but he remains on as president of Pops, of Ops. More from Greg Popovich, how on his determination to get these young players in the right direction. He wants his young players to, quote, figure out their places as the program builds back and we use the draft picks we have gotten over the next few years. That's right. Figure out your current place. And the Pop knows we got buku #1 draft picks in the next few years. He says it's a process in that sense, but because they have such high character, it has really been enjoyable to go out there and coach totally different than I did with Timmy, Tony, and Manu. That was making adjustments and doing things during games, adding a piece here and there to an already really good team. This is different, says Pop. It's more teaching, more fundamentals, more habits, more consistency kinds of things. And that is a different emphasis and focus. Pop has to be patient with these guys because they're not as talented as they should be. So that he admits that at least these kids are not as good. I'm not saying that we should not criticize Pop. I think Pop screwed up with Jeremy Sohan. He screwed up starting Zach Collins, and they've fixed it though. Sohan's not coming off the bench. Collins is coming off the bench. Sohan's back to his natural swing forward position. So Pop has made some mistakes there. But at some point, all this, it's a process till we get these other #1 picks in here. And this patience with Keldon Johnson, it's worn thin on me. I don't think this kid's proven to me that he ain't part of the future. I'd ship his ass out of here as soon as I got a chance to do so. I just would. All right, closing thoughts today. UTSA. A lot of y'all bitched to me. I got some negative feedback on UTSA signing day yesterday. It's different. Jeff Traylor's talking about coaches in different positions. Jeff Traylor has to evaluate his signing classes differently than Steve Sarkisian evaluates his signing classes because Jeff Traylor cannot sign the kind of players Steve Sarkisian does. UTSA still is not, they can't even get the top players in town. Go look at every kid that signed from San Antonio yesterday. A kid at Veterans Memorial, running back, signs with Ohio State. Kid over here at some other kid I saw sign with Washington. The best player at Smithson Valley, wide receiver, kid named Dubose, signed with the Longhorns. That's the way it goes. UTSA, a lot of y'all are pissed that they didn't get top players in the city. Jeff Traylor's a damn good football coach and a damn good recruiter, but he's still going to be limited by the conference he plays in. I guess, was it Rivals 24/7? They've got the UTSA signing period at this point, and they still have room for some more players they're going to bring in here in the coming weeks. So UTSA signed only 13 guys. And right now they're damn near at the bottom in recruiting in the conference, according to Rivals, because they don't have a full allotment of recruits. But the ones that Jeff did bring in, all grade, have an 85 average grade, which is pretty good. Jeff's just doing what he does. Now, Jeff also said yesterday they do plan on bringing in another quarterback, which is good. They've got Frank Harris is retired, and they've got Owen McCown, the kid that started and played in the bowl game. They've got Eddie Lee Marburger, who's been passed on the pecking order by McCown. But Traylor's not just going to assume those are his two guys next year. They're looking to bring in a veteran quarterback from the portal. So watch for that in the next couple of weeks. There's going to be another quarterback show up. They don't have NIL money. It's about who gets paid. It's about who makes the most cash. And UTSA's players don't make cash, and it sucks. Jeff Traylor. I've been a fan of TCU for years, and in many respects, it was the same bit. TCU could never out-recruit Texas or Texas A&M. So it's like, our recruiting pitch is we still have great facilities. We know that the 5 stars are not going to come here, but if you do come here, here's what we guarantee. You're going to get coached up. We're going to maximize your abilities. You're going to be in a family atmosphere, an older school atmosphere. I hate that phrase because it insinuates that young people can't do it, a certain way. But it's a family atmosphere. You're going to get coached up. So come here and get coached up and get to play a lot versus go ride the pine at Ohio State. That's their recruiting pitch. That's how TCU recruited for years. At least, hey, we may have to go get a quarterback to play running back. We may have to turn a linebacker into a safety. But you know what? You're going to get coached up, and you're going to make you a damn good player. Traylor is in the same boat. But what's changed, though, now that TCU never had to deal with until now is they ain't got no money. Because these kids now can all take money, and it sucks. It really does suck. It is what it is. All right. We got to get to Badastic Voyage Challenge, LG. And I need to post it right now, as a matter of fact. So back on the glasses go. Congratulations in order to yesterday's semifinal champion or victor, Ted Cruz, who continues to cruise along. Ted Cruz annihilated the Florida governor, Ron DeSantis, 70% to 30%. Ted Cruz advances into the championship, and he'll play the winner of today's other national semifinal challenge, Final Four, Game 2. Final Four, Game 2. Today, it is James Harden. About that. He will take on Jackson Mahomes. I'm a little surprised that Mahomes made it this far, but here he is. It's Jackson Mahomes, the douchebag kid brother of Patrick, up against the Terrell Owens of the NBA, James Harden. So I just posted it to Twitter, IEX. Jump on there and vote. And then 24 hours from right now, we'll know who wins this matchup. And whoever wins out of Harden and Mahomes, I'm picking Harden. I think Harden's going to win. We'll take on Teddy Cruz next week in the World Championship game. Ruben's in here. Makes it harder for the coach to put them in the best position when everyone wants to just jack up three-pointers all night. That's the league, dude. That's the league. It's insane. That's the league across the board. The numbers all say it is better to miss a shit ton of threes but keep taking them than make a whole bunch of two-point shots. Because at some point, if you make six, here we are with Taylor doing math again, always dicey. But all the data says it's better to go 10 for 40 from 3 than 20 for 30 from 2, because at the end of the night, the math, it eventually swings toward the three-point shots made, still get you victories. I don't question the stats, although I do think that Ruben, I'll agree on this. On nights where they're not making them, they just keep on chucking them. What'd they go, like 5 for 41 against the Rockets last week or some shit like that? It's ugly-ass basketball. Data and analysis have created an uglier game. You know, I had this the other day. I mentioned this on the show. You look at the 2014 championship team. In the 5 games against Miami in the NBA Finals, the Spurs took like 118 threes, something like that, in the 5 games. And you look at the current Spurs, they shoot over a 5-game span. The Spurs will shoot 190 to 200 threes over a 5-game span. So in the same amount of games, the Spurs are now taking almost double the three-point shots that the beautiful game team took in the finals in those 5 games. Anyway, everyone's doing that, though. That's the league. But what happens is the Spurs get I guess they're so stubborn with it. On nights where they're not making anything, they just clank, clank, clank threes all night, and it's horrible looking. It's ugly. That's fine. I've accepted that that's where the NBA has evolved to. It's fine. But they don't have good enough players. And I maintain that. Y'all want to bash the coach? That's fine. It's not like Pop's perfect. You want to jump on the general manager, Brian Wright? Go for it. But it starts with ball players. And I just thought that Keldon Johnson would be further along at this point. I don't give a shit if somebody challenged me on this the other day. Keldon Johnson's the most talented. He has the best stats on the team. I don't give a shit if Keldon Johnson leads the NBA in scoring. He's not a winner. He's not a guy. He's an off the bench rotation guy for an elite team. He's a guy who can go for 20 and 10 every night for a team that goes 4 and 21. I don't want that. These players are not good enough. Now, you want to get on management for that? That's fair. I'm tired of, deer in headlights. We're still young. We're developing. Yeah, the franchise is still in development mode, and they do have a lot of number one picks in the future. But these current core players they have, they're not good enough. Obviously, Wemby ain't going anywhere unless he chooses to in a few years. But for now, he ain't going anywhere. And right now, I see Vassell and Sohan in Wemby's future as a teammate and nobody else. And I think Pop knows that. So but Pop has to coach, but Pop has to keep the room. And so there's coddling, there's defending them. It's criticizing them while defending them. Yeah, they were deer in the headlights tonight. We were not ready to play. But they're kids. That's the way it's going to be all year long. This team's not that great. All right. That's it. We're done. LG, what are you doing for Christmas? You going to your mama's house on Monday? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm probably going to do something like that. What are you up to? Are you ringing any bells anywhere for Kettle?
Nope.
No?
I'm at the liquor store all day Saturday and Friday.
Right.
And Sunday, I'm gonna be underground with I'm gonna be here.
Yeah, I'll be filling in for you later on the 3 Cents podcast today.
Yeah, I guess I've
1
got too much jet lag to host the show today.
Yeah, you're going to be jet lagged.
No,
obviously.
My kid's in town. My kids come down, and I vowed to do this show because it's in the morning, but I wasn't going to stop down in the middle of the afternoon. And y'all will be fine on 3 Cents without me today.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. You going to have that same Carbach T-shirt on, or are you going to change for this show?
Yeah, I might wear my 3 Cents jersey.
Oh,
I got a badass baseball jersey that says LG on the back of it.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's what all the cool kids do. They get their own name on a jersey.
Hell yeah, jerseys and polos and koozies and whatnot. Yeah.
All right, that's it. This thing's done. Y'all have a great weekend. Well, I will be back with public Sunday for Cowboys Dolphins Overreact presented by the law office of Keldon Orlando. I'm so mad at Keldon Johnson. I hate him right now. All right. Thank you to Orlando Kel. Thank you to Mr. Singh and Texas Cheer Liquor. Love y'all hard. Y'all please be safe this weekend. Have a good time for Christmas. I'll see you on this show again on Tuesday. We have Cowboys Overreact, though, Sunday. Maybe we'll replay Cowboys Overreact Monday if you want, LG. I'll talk to LG about doing that just to get something on there. All right, that's it. We done. Love y'all hard. Peace out, bitches. See y'all in here next Tuesday. Merry Christmas, everybody. Peace out.
Come back, you puppy!
Mike Taylor Live is presented by Texas Cheer Liquor.
This program was made possible by contributions from viewers and listeners like you. Thank you.
This is a cross-bound 6-local